You wanna know one of the worst feelings in life? Well, besides like losing a 1% failure in Umusume, it's this. Copyright. And for the better part of over a decade in which I've been uploading YouTube videos, it has challenged my will to upload any form of content. That doesn't just apply to my channel, of course, it applies to literally everything. Gameplay videos, music videos, all of it is under the lens of copyright. Now firstly, I want to make this as direct as possible. I don't hate copyright. I think it's incredibly important that we own what we create, and I completely understand when companies enforce their copyright on things they don't want being created. If we were not allowed to have ownership of the things we create, then that would spell trouble for so many people, including companies and individuals. I want to make this disclaimer, and I don't want to sound ungrateful because after this sentence, you know. Everything I say should not be taken as legal advice, and is simply my experiences on copyright and how it's personally affected me. Please do not use this as actual knowledge. I think one of the biggest sticking points regarding copyright is that you aren't necessarily allowed to complain about it when you get hit by it. Almost everything is copyrighted. The sound effects people use, the music people use, hell, even the footage people use. That is all owned by companies and people. See this text? It's copyrighted. This footage of me is technically copyrighted, I think. I should probably copyright before AI starts using it as part of the database. Fuck AI. I hope with that definition though, you understand that everything in the world belongs to someone. Now the most interesting aspect of copyright is how it's enforced. Not everyone enforces copyright the same way. For example, Nintendo will sometimes strike fan projects based on their properties, and they are technically in their right to do so. Sega, however, lets that shit slide, fucking do our jobs. That's the two extremes if we're to dive into a topic like video game copyright. In regards to YouTube, however, it's in a very gray area due to a multitude of factors. Companies choosing how they want to enforce it, and a term called fair use. Now I am not a lawyer. I am going off what I understand based on the experiences I've had with copyright and fair use. Depending on how you use said copyrighted content, sometimes you can be left off the hook in a sense. But not really. They put guidelines for what can slide under the rug, but ultimately lies within the copyright holders and the court. YouTube can tell you what can possibly get you off the radar, but if you get directly approached by the company, chances are, yeah, take that shit down. These rules have updated and changed over time due to cases that have occurred over the entire time YouTube has been around. There's a lot of nuance that goes into this kind of stuff, so you really have to be like, shit, I think it depends. For example, reposting a complete episode of a copyrighted TV show, yeah, you're probably getting killed for that. Making a video talking about the episode that uses footage of the episode for the background visuals, well, you're more likely to not get caught by the copyright. Although that depends on factors such as if the company has it set so any use of their visuals are automatically copyrighted, because yes, that can fucking happen. And when that does happen, you have to put filters and shit over it so it doesn't get marked next time. I remember the first time I actually got a copyright hit. I was trying to do a JoJo meme with Roundabout, and that video was only about 10 seconds, but it got instantly hit with a partially blocked. Now, it's no big deal. That was for a personal video I just sent to friends. But over time, I started learning the rules for how exactly copyright works and when it actually kicks in. Fair use is a very gray term for what's allowed and what isn't. Do you have to repurpose the footage you're using? How much can you use before the copyright holders feel you're using too much of their content? Is the simple act of having someone's music in the background enough to trigger the warning alarms? I remember searching up tutorials on how to avoid copyright, and let me just say, people do not want you doing that. You'll see millions of YouTubers technically using copyright assets, including music and videos, but you don't see them getting fucking airstriked. It's like an unwritten rule. You'll have people factually say what you're using is copyrighted, which is very true, but it's like they have a gun behind their head and say, and you shouldn't use any copyright content, by the way. Like at all. Don't do it. And they aren't necessarily wrong. It's entirely up to the copyright holders on what they decide to do. If they wanted to, they could just strike every use of their content on the internet. Will it work? Fuck no, but it's good to keep it in mind. The internet is a very tricky place for copyright. At any point, they can legally pull the plug and instantly shut you down. It'll waste them so much money and people will find a way to bypass it, but hey, that's on them, not us. Me and many other content creators are very fortunate that some companies, specifically video game companies, don't enforce their copyright, or don't enforce it heavily. You know what's bullshit though? Copyright hitting years later. This is gonna paint me in a bad light, but I have to say it. I'm really glad video game companies have noticed the use of their music. Many of their tracks are really beautiful and soothing, and a ton of YouTubers have used it for so many videos. The problem is, when companies officially register the copyright and say put it on streaming services, it now shoots 20 million bullets that target every single use of their music, aka Persona and Atlas. I have never seen a more terrified look on so many YouTubers when Persona 5 tracks began getting copyright claims, and I think it's applied to the rest of the Persona catalog as well, at least from my experience. And listen, there is no worse thing than getting copyright claimed on the video, especially one that's doing well. Ad revenue gets put on a complete stop, and if that video begins banging, there is no money being created at all. It doesn't get held, it just doesn't exist. Now, does Atlas have the complete right to do this over the products they officially own? Of course they do. I'm not gonna blame them for that. They probably saw how many people use their music and decided it's worth it to take the pennies given by ad revenue. You see how great this line is right now? Because technically they do own the music and stuff, that's very obvious. They're well within their rights to enforce what they have. But it does inherently harm a lot of content creators. A ton of content creators, myself included, use pre-existing content as a way to, well, make content. Some of us talk about TV shows, anime, video games, stuff that already has existing copyright enforced onto them. It's just up to us to loop around the holes in order to avoid the detection. Saying that out loud seems like we're some nasty people, but bro, come on man. It's not like we're trying to resell or show free stuff, it's just placing music in the background or showing a clip of something that lasts over 10 seconds. You got extremes with some people declaring that we should legally be allowed to use any copyright work, which I don't really fully agree with, but then you have some people that just suck the company's dick at any point. Yeah, zip it up when you're done, buddy. Repurposing the content is like our best excuse to justify the use of copyright content. Anyone can upload gameplay footage, but what about gameplay footage with commentary from me? There are a ton of other examples I could point out, but the thing is, I'm a video essay channel. I don't do let's plays and stuff, so my problems with copyright mostly lie in the form of the visuals and the music I use. But let's get something straight. Different companies enforce different things. Some companies are smart about copyright when it comes to YouTube. If a gaming company strikes down every single video containing footage of their game because they want people to buy their game, that will not help their sales. Instead, if they allow people to upload content on their game and people see how fun the game is, well, would you look at that, people will buy the game, wow. Yeah, some companies are a lot more chill with their copyright. Sega allows you to fuck around with their music and footage, it's amazing. If I got copyright for using Sonic Mania music in my videos, I'd be crying my ass off. There were times when companies tried taking advantage of content creation, like with Nintendo's partner program. That was fucking horrible. I was like 10 years old when that stuff was happening, but even I could tell the rules regarding the content people could use was stupid as hell. Nowadays, Nintendo isn't too strict on people using their music and gameplay, at least for me. Fan games though? They're off of blood. When it comes to my channel, I usually make structured scripted essay-like videos going over my thoughts on certain topics, such as shows and video games. I use footage from said shows and games, and music from said shows and games to instill a level of familiarity of what I'm exactly talking about. I don't usually showcase raw footage of what I'm talking about because after a certain point, it gets put in the copyright detection system, and that's the one thing you need to look out for. Some companies will set it to if it detects anything, it will block your video. However, there are some companies that will do the whole share ad revenue, which still sucks, but at least they have a soul. Knowing what each company does allows you to navigate what you're exactly allowed to show. I know Toby Fox isn't gonna kill me over Deltarune music, so if I'm in a crunch and I need music, I'm gonna use Deltarune. I do admittedly shoot myself in the foot sometimes because I make videos on Love Life, an idol series created in Japan. Yes, Japan. The place that has strict copyright laws. And they quite literally block everything. Anyone who has made anime or even Japanese videos probably understands the pain I'm gonna describe. I think the funniest part is that oftentimes they don't even copyright claim it, they just straight up delete that shit. Other companies would just take your ad revenue and run away, but a lot of Japanese companies just say fuck you, go get a VPN or live in Japan. It's genuinely mind-boggling to me, and I don't want to get jumped for criticizing Japan, so let's just focus on Love Life. Love Life has been very strict with their copyright. Obviously, re-uploading songs and episodes are a no-go. I'm not stupid on that front. YouTube's copyright system is still a bit finicky, and being frank, I think it's finicky on purpose to allow creators some wiggle room to slime things they probably aren't allowed to. Don't quote me on that though, I'm not a representative, I'm just a noodle. I can safely say though that Layla is definitely the one that gets copyrighted the most. For those that don't know, Love Life Superstar got broadcasted on a different television program I think, and they are very stingy on any use of their content. Even on the official Love Life channel, a lot of the music videos for Layla are region locked to Japan for some reason. To illustrate this, I got hit with copyright for using 8 seconds of Superstar footage, and that's just wow, I didn't know our relationship was like that. If you were ever curious why a lot of anime clips on YouTube have that 4K resolution or interpolate to 60 FPS with the saturation increased heavily, that's because of the copyright. For some reason, it does actually bypass it somehow, which explains why they're the only clips you'll likely see on YouTube. On one hand, I respect it, but at the same time, you're ruining the art and the perception of it. Back on track, some videos get hit due to the visuals, while some get hit due to the audio. It really lets you know that on some database or hard drive, there's just terabytes of footage that's being used to detect copyright, and it's insane to think about. There are some that aren't in that database though, and it's good to take advantage of that. Legally speaking, I'm not telling you this, but the Love Life game soundtracks have not been copyrighted or put into the system of copyright that's being enforced on the videos. I was worried that when the Nijigasaki visual novel came out, they would enforce it, but luckily they haven't. Yet. Well, I mean, they don't give a shit about Cephas and Sif anymore, so I'm scared that if I say anything, I'll just jinx myself into making it happen. But Hasunosora's background music has also not been put into the system of copyright. I won't give out names, but when I received the OST, let's just say I had the happiest day of my entire life. I'm trying to be very careful of the words I'm saying because I'm not sure what I can say about copyright. I avoid it. I do not confront it because I know I'm genuinely at the mercy of the copyright holders. I mentioned Atlas and Persona enforcing copyright on the music a bit ago, but Super Sentai also did it recently. A couple years back, they put their OSTs on streaming services, which is really cool, but some of the tracks I had for old montages slash videos made in 2020 got hit with that little copyright button. You can never stay safe in the realm of YouTube copyright fuckery. Remember when Deltarune and Undertale suddenly got hit with copyright and videos and streams published years ago got the hammer? That was wild. YouTube is a place that requires adapting, and while we can push back against certain decisions like the fucking age detection feature, oh my god, there are some things that we'll naturally have to navigate through. One of my biggest accomplishments with avoiding copyright is a video that I am not going to say because I don't want to jinx myself. Those of you who have been watching since last year probably know what video I'm referring to. That video required so much clipping and navigating to ensure that I would not be detected at all during the process. Talking about something like music and needing to show you an example of what I'm talking about is such a difficult challenge. Because I mean, technically it does lie in the fair use since I'm not just re-uploading the music, I'm commentating on it and making a spin on it, but holy shit. I can't believe the biggest hit I got off copyright wasn't with the music, it was showing visual footage from one of the episodes. Now listen, if you're just a casual person on YouTube who uploads whatever they want with no intention of being a content creator, then copyright won't really annoy you. You'll get flags here and there, and unless you're uploading something from Japan, you shouldn't get immediately blocked and unable to send to anyone. But it is nice to not be in that situation at all, and that's pretty much my philosophy. Even when I wasn't doing content creation as I am now, I still tried to avoid any detection of copyright in my videos, no matter how silly or goofy the intention was. And I'm really glad I conditioned myself to learn that, because when I actually got monetization thanks to that Sonic and Love Life video, I didn't need to suddenly learn what songs and visuals I can use without getting that yellow money sign. Many of my friends that do YouTube, or did YouTube, knew the ins and outs of what goes through copyright. I've been editing for a long time. I don't really do vlogs and that real life stuff. I do video game content highlight videos, and we as editors tend to use a variety of assets from video games and other things. It's a very slippery slope saying it out loud, so all I can really say is don't listen to a single fucking thing I say, do everything at your own risk. The only recent time I got hit with a major copyright claim was with my ice cream video, and that one passed the checkmarks initially, but due to the video game popular, the company actually manually copyright claimed my video, which they're in the full power to do so I won't complain. Some companies have it so they automatically scan any videos for their content, while others manually choose what to take down. It's the reason why some copyright isn't enforced. There's spaces you can slip into, and with millions of videos being uploaded every day, I think a lot of companies just choose not to put in the effort to enforce their copyright. It'll probably waste them more money, and in a way, they're getting free advertisement with the content that uses their assets. I'm sure I got someone into Love Life with one of my Love Life videos, and that wouldn't be possible if Love Life had just sent lightning strikes into my poor ass. Now, if I made a hate video on Love Life, okay, maybe they would step in. Copyright is a very finicky thing, and don't use anything I say as like legal advice on what you can and can't use. You are at the mercy of the copyright holders, and even though I can actually dodge them because I'm like fucking smart and cool, if they manually shoot me, they're well within their rights to do so. Sometimes. It's one of the benefits of being a small creator. They're not looking for me, they're looking for the big shots, so for now, I'm just gonna chill. But also again, please do not take anything I say as legal advice. Everything is at your own risk, and we should be glad they aren't enforcing it. Although they won't, because they just be shooting themselves in the foot. I'm gonna go lock my doors tonight. But also, let's get a bit personal for a second. I'm gonna take this camera here. So I wrote and edited all of that video before that Love Life video came out. And in case for those that don't know, I got copyrighted to hell for that video. And I just want to let you guys know that I have never been copyrighted like that before. So it was kind of a big thing for me. I'm gonna insert into the video right here, since I tend to record and plan my videos really weeks in advance, so I get more time to work on it and, you know, not be busy with stuff. So this part's all unscripted. What the actual fuck, Bandai Namco? I didn't know you were so stingy on your fucking copyright for using just 3 seconds of it. Like, genuinely, what the fuck? So, you probably aren't gonna see me use Love Life footage. Love Life Sunshine. I probably cannot make any videos on Love Life Sunshine, because if you watch that video, it is complete black screen for every single clip. Even you saw it for yourself. Look at the screenshot. 3 seconds. It wasn't even the audio. It did not flag any of the audio. No, it just flagged the fucking video. How the fuck does that work? So just know everything before that, I was like, oh yeah, I'm chill with copyright. Today, I just experienced the most fucking copyright hell that I've ever experienced my entire life. So, yeah, I'm gonna end the video with that. Listen, I take back everything I said. Fuck copyright. No, I'm playing. Don't take everything I say as it goes by. Please don't.